Jó reggelt kívánok! Hogy vagy? Jó? Alexa, what time is it?
It's 5:49 a.m.
Alexa, what time is it in Fort Myers, Florida?
In Fort Myers, it's 8:49 a.m.
There you go, 8:49. I still have Alexa set to, where is it? I think Gardnerville, Nevada. Alexa, what's the weather?
Currently, in Gardnerville, it's 39 degrees Fahrenheit with partly cloudy skies. Today, you can expect intermittent clouds with a high of 43 degrees and a low of 22 degrees.
So there you go. But I still have it set. I don't know why I still have it set for Gardnerville, but I do. And oh goodness gracious, I bought my ticket. I bought the second. I bought the second of probably what's going to be at least, I don't know, half a dozen to 10 tickets for my upcoming trip. I bought a ticket to fly to LA. And I fly to LA on the 7th of February. I was going to leave around the 1st, but I like the comfort of home. I like I like all the comfort of being home and riding my bike and sitting in the jacuzzi and all that good stuff. Maybe I'm becoming soft, but anyway, so I fly out on the 7th of February, and I'll land. I think that's a Friday, but I land into LAX right about midday. And I'm flying United, and the reason I'm flying United is because their hub, if you will, is out of Houston. So I'm going to fly across the Gulf of Mexico, which is about a 3-hour flight. I can handle that. Not a problem. I can handle a 3-hour flight. And then there's a couple-hour layover to stretch my legs. Then I wonder if they have a Dunkin' Donuts in the Houston airport. But but then I fly from Houston to LAX, arriving at about noon on a Friday, and that should situate me nicely enough that I could probably beat some of the rush hour traffic out of LA up into Ventura County. And probably that evening I'll go to dinner with Lee with ABC Auto Care. And knowing Lee as I do, he'll be more than happy to jump in a video with me. So that's the second ticket that I bought to find my way. Now I got to find my way from California over to Honolulu. So if I'm arriving in the 7th into California, I have until the 16th, which is what, something like 9 days. So I have 9 days in between landing into California and flying out of Honolulu. And I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do in those 9 days. I toy with the idea of driving up the coast, in what have you, but we will see, as the saying goes, what I'm going to end up doing. So what else is on my mind? Yeah, I went out yesterday. I went out to my porch yesterday to kind of soak in the fresh air. Florida is ideal this time of year. It really is. It can't be beat. There's no humidity. Temperatures are in mid 70s to the low 80s. Nights are rather cool, down around 50, 55. I have no doubt or it comes as no surprise why guys like Henry Ford and Thomas Edison used to come down here for the winter out of New Jersey and where was it? Michigan, I think. But anyway, I went out onto the porch yesterday to grab myself a little bit of fresh air after working all day long. And there was a package on my doorstep. And I thought I wasn't waiting for any package. I'm done with most of the remodeling. There's nothing coming. And then I thought, hmm, maybe it's a gift. Maybe it's a gift. And there's only a couple people that I know of that have my home address, and I wouldn't be expecting a gift, uh, what have you. But anyway, so I opened the box up, and look what was inside. You see this? I don't know if there you can see this. So, teach yourself to play piano. Includes streaming audio and video content. Author Willard A. Palmer, Thomas Palmer, and Morton Manus. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that this came along with the piano, but it just was delivered late, and or it was a package deal or something. But I was laying in bed last night reading some of this, and you see, it's just, I don't know how well you can see this, but it's a very nice book on how to read the notes on the on how to read musical notes, and it's just very, very well written. And they encourage you to get a teacher to go along with this book. But anyway, so this book came, Teach Yourself to Play Piano, and then these books came, A Charlie Brown Christmas. You see, so I can do the Charlie Brown Christmas. Hopefully next year I'll be able to play Linus and Lucy, and Christmas Time is Here, the Christmas song. You know, what isn't it? Isn't it like da 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 da? You know, so I got A Charlie Brown Christmas. I got the Beatles' greatest hits, And I Love Her, 8 Days a Week, Good Night, Hey Jude, Let It Be, When I'm 64, Yesterday. 8 Beatles solos for beginning pianist with sound-alike audio tracks. And they have the sound-alike audio tracks for these things as well. And then I have Adele, okay? Chasing Pavements, Hello, Make You Feel My Love. Make You Feel My Love. That sounds like date rape or something like that. Make You Feel My Love. Remedy, Rolling in the Deep, Rumor Has It. Set Fire to the Rain, Someone Like You. And also Frozen. I have Frozen, and that's Do You Want to Build a Snowman? For the First Time in Forever. Let It Go, Love is an Open Door. Reindeer Are Better Than People. Yeah. So I don't have any excuse. I really don't. I don't have any excuse. And you know what? I was thinking that I was going to return when I ordered my piano. You know, I got it from Costco, and you can return anything at Costco. I could take a wrapper from I don't know. I could take a wrapper from something that I've bought at Costco and had for dinner, and just take back the wrapper and tell them I didn't like it, and they'll refund you your money. But I had toyed with the idea of taking the piano back, but I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it, and it'll be a nice. At some point in time, maybe I will find myself in a situation where I can really apply myself, as my mother used to always say, and learn how to play the piano. But anyway, last night I went to the movies. I went to see 1917. And as my dad would say, what a movie. What a movie. Oh, goodness gracious. That was always, when I would watch movies with my dad, that was one of the fonder memories I have of the time that I spent with my dad. And over the last few years of his life. And as I was driving home from the movie last night, I found myself thinking about my dad, and I found myself thinking how those last couple years of his life, the last several years of his life for that matter, um, he was my best friend. He really was. And in many ways, my dad and I, right at, near the end of his life, we were inseparable. We could have taken our show to Vegas. But I think back on those memories that I spent with my dad, and I've been watching some of these memories as of late. There's a video that I found the other day. You probably could find it. I just changed the title of the video, but you could probably go to YouTube and type in Tom Hall 7 Mile Bridge, the number seven, not Seven, but just type in Tom Hall 7 Mile Bridge, Key West. And there's this video that I did with my dad of he had just lost his driver's license. And he had been fighting that for quite some time. He just didn't want to give up that sense of independence and freedom. And and the doctor had taken away his driver's license, and he was feeling a little bit down, I think, about that. So at the time, I was with the ever so beautiful and lovely Mercedes, and Mercedes and I uh, decided to take Dad down to Key West. And to get to Key West, you got to go over this 7 Mile Bridge. And I don't think I had ever been over the 7 Mile Bridge at that point in time. Maybe I had, but my dad had never driven the 7 Mile Bridge. And for a lot of people, that's a bucket list item. Is driving from like South Florida to Key West over the 7 Mile Bridge with all the islands and what have you. And I did a video with my dad. If I think of it, I'll put it in the description or the comment section here. But I did a video with my dad, and we did this whole introduction for 2 or 3 minutes. I think if you go to like 2 minutes and 20 seconds, it'll bypass all the discussion. But anyway, so my dad and I did this video of going to Key West, and we were right at the beginning of the 7 Mile Bridge, and we stopped at this rest area, and my dad and I were sitting there talking, and he didn't know that I had gone out and bought him a nice little Panama hat. I don't know if they call them Panama hats, but I bought him a nice little hat, instead of his baseball cap that he would always wear. And then I told him, I said, Dad, I said, you know what? I said, you're going to drive. I said, I want you to drive the 7 Mile Bridge. And I can't remember the specific conversation, but anyway, long story short, there I was with my dad, the last time he ever drove a car in his life, to the best of my knowledge. I think it's the last time he ever drove a car in his life, and it was over the 7 Mile Bridge, going from South Florida down to Key West. And what a memory that was. Just a beautiful, beautiful memory. But going back to the movie, when my dad was here and we would watch movies together, he always liked the war movies and everything, but any good movie. And with his hearing, he would always appreciate the subtitles on the movie. But there was nothing. I always gave him. I would let him sit in the recliner, so he would sit in his recliner, and I'd be on the sofa. But I always remember that when we'd watch movies, and I don't waste my time watching silly nonsensical movies. So 99% of the time when we watched a movie, my dad would get up out of his chair, and he'd look over to me and he'd say, "What a movie." What a movie. So, all right, I'm going to bed. And as he'd be walking up the stairs and he'd look down at Mercedes and I on the sofa together, he'd say, "Okay, Tommy, you know what to do. You know what to do." And he'd kind of smile and look at Mercedes and I, and we'd go he'd go up to bed. But just wonderful, wonderful memories of my dad. And the movie last night, if I had not sorry for deviating so much from the topic of the movie, 1917. What a great movie. I don't make it a habit to go to the cinema that much anymore because I can watch movies on at home in the comfort of my home and enjoy it, without having to go and deal with the whole, cinema thing. But 1917 promised to be a movie that wouldn't disappoint, and it didn't. And it's a war movie, needless to say, but it's a war movie, and it's a story of these two young soldiers that are tasked to cross over through enemy lines and reach a battalion, if you will, of troops that are about to walk into a trap, so to speak. And the movie was just really, really something else. I mean, it really, really was something else. And one of the storylines of the movie was that one of the two soldiers that was being sent through the front lines to save this battalion from being slaughtered. One of the young soldiers knew that his brother was over there about to walk into that trap and get slaughtered. And a lot of the story was set to the fact that, it was one brother trying to save another. And as I sat there and I watched the movie, it was hard not to think about certain aspects of my life. I have five brothers. Five brothers. My mom and dad had six boys. Six boys. And being one of the six means that I have five brothers. And unfortunately, and I say that with all the sincerity in my heart, unfortunately, I only have communication with one of the five. I only have communication with one of the five. And one of the five lives only 2 hours from me. And another one of the five comes down and touches down at an airport, not even 10 minutes from my house, several times a year. And I never hear from these five brothers. And as I was watching this movie last night, and you see the portrayal of what this one brother was willing to do to save another. and I'm not going to give the movie away, but the bond that the movie portrays between brothers was just really, really touching. And all the while I'm sitting watching this movie and I'm thinking to myself, what a shame it is. What an absolute shame it is that, to go through life having five wonderful brothers, and they're all wonderful in their own way. All of my brothers all of my siblings are wonderful in their own special way. But to go through life having five brothers and having essentially no communication with them, it's just it's a shame. It really, really is a shame. And I would I would be lying if I were saying that I'm not responsible for some of that for some of the situation where I have the estrangement from my siblings. I would be lying if I said that I wasn't, in part, responsible for that. But what amazes me about that situation is that, they say blood is thicker than water. And it just amazes me that being siblings and having such a special situation, in this world as having, been blessed with so many siblings. It would seem that siblings could overcome their differences, or siblings could find forgiveness within their hearts. But it's unfortunate that they can't, and it just seems that when you're estranged from somebody, regardless of whether they're a sibling or not, every passing day is like adding another brick to the wall. And with the passing of time, not only does that wall become higher, but the wall becomes more difficult to penetrate. And it's really an unfortunate situation. But and I try not to. I've reached the point when I do my videos to try to be very careful and selective when it comes to discussing personal issues. But I couldn't help having watched that movie last night. And if you go out and see it, you'll see it. You'll see the movie and the portrayal of the love and the bond between two brothers. And boy, it's just a shame. I gotta tell you, it's just a shame. And the other thing that I find myself thinking about is when my dad was here, when my dad was here walking amongst us, I think that he had an idea that there was a sense of estrangement between his children. I think that he had a sense of it, but I don't think that he fully grasped the situation. And I sometimes I think about my dad up there in heaven, and being up there in heaven, my dad can look down. He can look down or look up, or he can see a situation. He has insight into a situation that he had no idea, when he was here, as to the full scope. But having left and gone to the hereafter, he's fully aware. He's fully aware of the estrangement that exists between his children. And as much as my dad loved his family, that was always the first thing. I mean, Wyatt Earp was quick on the draw with the pistol. You watch those old westerns, and you see the guys walking down the middle of a western town, and ready to draw their weapon, and the quickest draw in the West, so to speak. My dad was the quickest draw when it came to pulling out the family picture. He would just whip out that picture like there was no tomorrow. Didn't matter who you were. You could have been an attendant at the gas station pumping gas. And my dad would get out, and first thing he would say is, "How you doing? Do you have a family?" That was always the intro. Do you have a family? He would always ask that. And even before they could answer it, sometimes he would say, "Ann and I raised 10 kids. And they all turned out well, except little Tommy." That's what he was thinking in his head. They all turned out well. And he'd pull out this picture, and he'd go through the story of each of the 10 children. And boy, I got to tell you, it probably breaks his heart. It probably breaks his heart now that he's passed, and he's fully aware of the situation with the children. And anyway, that's more or less what was on my mind today, except football. We're going to have 3 days for those of you that like sports, 3 days of wonderful football. And today we've got Minnesota at San Francisco. Years past, I would have been really pulling for San Francisco, but the whole Colin Kaepernick thing, kneeling during the national anthem, and him being a 49er, and them not stopping him from doing that, and all that type of stuff, just kind of left a sour taste in my mouth with the 49ers. And I hope that I hope that the Vikings can upset the 49ers. And then I think the other game today is the Tennessee Titans going into Baltimore. And boy, I'm kind of tossed on that one. I guess I'd probably want to see Baltimore. I haven't seen any of their games this year, but I hear they have a really good quarterback who's quite the athlete, and I'm kind of curious to see that quarterback from Baltimore. And then tomorrow the games Houston to Kansas City. I'm somewhat indifferent to that. I guess I'd have to see. I well, I have family in Texas, so maybe I have to pull for Texas to win that game. And who's the other game? It's Green Bay and oh goodness gracious, it's Green Bay and is it Philadelphia? No, Green Bay and Seattle tomorrow, and that's a toss up for me. I'd probably have to go with maybe go with Green Bay. But anyway, that is those are my picks. Green Bay, who is it? The Vikings, Green Bay, the Vikings, the Ravens, and the Texans. So anyway, time to get on with my day, and I've just been doing bucket loads of work, just all types of work. I've been going back and forth with Google and Microsoft and dialing in advertising, and it's a love-hate relationship. Let me tell you, I love writing ads. I love trying to anticipate what people are going to search, and once they search, I love getting the click, and I love watching what happens once they click and they go to the website, and seeing all the interaction, and all that type of stuff. It's just it's fascinating. So all right, anyway, that's all, folks. Alexa, what's the question of the day?
Good morning. Here is today's question of the day. The topic is arts and entertainment. It is worth 4 points. Which French artist created the famous bronze sculpture known as the Thinker, which depicts a man sitting with his chin resting on his hand? You can answer A. Claude Monet, B. Joan Mitchell, C. Auguste Rodin, or D. Michelangelo.
Who is Michelangelo?
Good try, but Michelangelo was Italian, not French. The correct answer was C. Auguste Rodin. According to the Rodin Museum, the Thinker was originally entitled The Poet. He represented Dante, the author of the Divine Comedy, leaning forward to observe the surface.
I've seen the Thinker before. I think I was in where was I? I was in Tuscany. That's where I saw the Thinker. Big beautiful statue, and he's naked. The Thinker is naked. He's sitting up there on a big thing, and he's just a really buff guy, and he's got his hand up on his chin, and he's naked. Oh goodness gracious! All right, have a good day, everyone. Take care.